Benny was a bunny. He was not just any bunny, but a very special one. He had the softest fur you could ever imagine and a twitchy nose that wiggled whenever he was excited or curious. Benny loved to hop around the meadow, exploring every nook and cranny. He would play with his friends, chasing butterflies and rolling in the grass. But most of all, Benny loved to tell stories. His stories were magical, filled with adventures and excitement.
Every day, I would gather my friends around and tell them stories. They would sit in a circle, their eyes wide with anticipation. I would talk about my adventures in the forest, the time I met a wise old owl, or the day I found a hidden treasure.
His friends liked his stories. They would listen intently, hanging on to every word. They listened with wide eyes, their faces lighting up with joy and excitement. Benny's stories were not just funny, but also filled with thrilling moments.
Benny, you always make us laugh. Your stories are the best part of our day.
And sometimes you make us gasp. We never know what to expect next.
Benny liked to see their faces light up with different emotions. It made him happy to know that his stories brought so much joy to his friends. He liked to know they enjoyed his stories. It was his way of sharing his world with them, making their days a little brighter and a lot more fun. One day, Benny's stories changed. He started to tell tall tales. He talked about flying with the birds. He said he swam with the fish.
I flew so high, I touched the clouds.
Benny's friends were amazed.
Wow, Benny!
We've never heard anything like it.
Benny felt very important. He liked how surprised his friends were, so Benny told more and more tall tales. Benny hopped into the meadow. He had a new story to tell.
I saw a giant carrot. It was taller than a tree.
His friends giggled. They knew carrots didn't grow that big.
That's silly, Benny.
Benny felt his face grow warm.
It's true!
But his friends didn't believe him. They shook their heads and hopped away. Benny sat alone. His tail drooped. His friends didn't trust his stories anymore. Section 4. The day Benny found a rainbow. It was a day that started like any other, with Benny the bunny hopping around the meadow enjoying the fresh morning air. The sky was clear and the grass was still wet with dew. One morning Benny saw something amazing. His eyes widened as he looked up at the sky. After the rain, a beautiful rainbow filled the sky. It stretched from one end of the horizon to the other with colors so vivid they seemed to dance in the air. It was the biggest, brightest rainbow he had ever seen. Benny hopped excitedly. He had seen rainbows before, but none like this. This one seemed almost magical. He couldn't wait to tell his friends. He imagined their faces lighting up with wonder and excitement just like his. He rushed back to the meadow. His little heart was pounding with excitement as he thought about sharing this incredible sight.
You won't believe it, Benny exclaimed, his voice filled with joy and anticipation. I saw a rainbow touching the ground. It was so close, I felt like I could almost touch it myself.
But his friends didn't even look up. They were too busy with their own activities, chatting and playing games.
Oh, Benny, we've heard your stories before, one of the rabbits said dismissively, not even bothering to glance at the sky.
Benny's ears drooped. He felt sad. He had been so sure that his friends would share in his excitement. But now he felt alone. The rainbow was real. But his friends didn't believe him. Benny sat quietly looking at the rainbow, wondering why they couldn't see the magic that he did. Section 5. Benny tells the truth. Benny knew he had to do something. He'd been carrying the weight of his lies for too long, and it was time to come clean. The meadow was quiet, and the gentle rustling of the leaves seemed to encourage him to speak up. He took a deep breath, feeling the cool air fill his lungs. This was it, the moment of truth.
I'm sorry, everyone. I made up those stories. I didn't mean to deceive you all. I just wanted to be someone you could look up to. I only wanted to impress you. I thought that if I told Gran...
His friends listened quietly, their eyes fixed on Benny. They could see the sincerity in his eyes and the regret in his voice. Benny continued, feeling a bit lighter with each word.
The rainbow, though, it's real. Please come and see. I promise this time I'm telling the truth.
Benny led his friends to the edge of the meadow, his heart pounding with anticipation. He hoped they would believe him this time, and there it was. The end of the rainbow touched the ground just beyond the trees. Benny's friends were amazed. The colors were more vibrant than they had ever imagined. They had never been so close to a rainbow. It was a magical moment, one that they would remember forever. They looked at Benny with new eyes, filled with admiration and respect. Benny had told the truth, and it had brought them closer together. Section 6, Real Adventures with Friends. From that day on, Benny only told true stories. He learned that telling the truth was more important than impressing his friends. Benny's friends trusted him again. They listened to his stories with delight. They went on real adventures together. They explored the forest and played in the fields. Benny was happy. He had his friends back, and he learned a valuable lesson. Honesty brings trust and friendship.